You have a news article from CNN saying that Americans have never been wealthier.
That's what the article says. When you see that headline, Americans have never been wealthier. What do you think? Because I'm a little conflicted.
I am too, because I see the housing market, particularly in Nashville, just insane.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, are we just in like a weird city where this is happening, or is this happening everywhere, or what?
Yeah.
And I don't, or does it feel like, yeah, I guess people are wealthier than ever, considering it both feels like that and doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
It feels like it could all fall apart, but then at the same time, it's like, but this doesn't feel like 2008 for some reason. It feels very different from 2008. Maybe because the internet is so big and a lot of people have made at least some form of income, even if it's part-time online. So like, I don't know, it just feels different. Because in 2008, when everything fell apart, it was like, oh, okay, we actually have to go out and get jobs at places. Now there's more options, and so people can make supplemental incomes other ways. But I don't know.
If I feel like a lot of those supplemental incomes, when you can like have the internet work for yourself, it's all predicated on
the people having the real jobs out there.
People having real jobs, making real money, and you entertaining them.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's true. So once those people are screwed, when the people who are actually out there doing the hard labor and no one's building anything anymore, well,
right, the one domino falls.
Yeah,
I'm always conflicted because on one hand, I think I agree with this, but not in the way that they're talking about it. Because think about it like this. If we lived by the standards of Little House on the Prairie, if you were okay with that standard of living, and you were still making the same amount of money, you're the wealthiest person that there ever was. You could just sit there and just count your stacks of cash.
Yeah, you wouldn't have electricity, you wouldn't have plumbing, you would have no utilities.
You would just have thousands of dollars in bills each year that you're not paying.
Yeah.
But Jordan, this data is not adjusted for inflation. That's key.
Okay.
So they're trying to push this idea that, without adjusting for inflation, that like, hey, you're richer than you've ever been. Your net worth because of your house and the stock market, everything is good.
Yeah, but it feels like, well, like we always say, like, well, wait, if we sell our house, where can we move?
Right.
Like if I sold my house, who knows how much my house is worth now, considering it's like we both live so close to downtown Nashville. It's like everybody wants to move here, it seems like.
Right.
But like I couldn't even I couldn't even
move out even further.
To buy 40 acres out in the middle of nowhere with not even a house would probably cost me the amount that I would get from my house.
Really?
Probably.
Wow.
I would probably be able to build a shack on it with the money that I had left.
How do people afford houses anymore?
They don't. I think that everything is based off of people who I really think that we're really getting into a crazy two-tiered system at this point for people who want to buy houses. Yeah. We got in when houses were cheaper.
We got in right at
dude. I mean, it's a miracle from God that we got our houses.
Because I was so conflicted about buying, because we had a really good, for the first 4 years we were married, we had a really good random situation. It was a landlord we knew, a guy it was someone we knew who had some rental properties. He was desperate to have a tenant who would pay.
Yeah.
And so he said, look, whatever you're going to pay for that apartment you guys are about to move into, I'll take that same amount. And I was like, $625? Yeah, I'll do it. And it was like for a whole townhouse. Walking away from that was very hard. But with everything now in hindsight, it was the best decision we ever made.
Oh, I mean, truly.
And yours is even better.
Yeah, but now people who are wanting to buy houses, how do you get it? There's so many people who have accumulated so much wealth, like with Airbnbs and all this rental stuff now in Nashville, that nobody can buy. Nobody who has a normal job in Nashville can live here anymore in a house.
Well, and part of it too is that since so many people want to move here, anytime a house goes up for sale, the investors come in and buy them.
Right.
And they rent them out.
So I was reading something that was saying that it's all kind of a bubble right now, but it's all masked because of Airbnbs and because whatever you would consider the ultra wealthy, like in our class, whoever the ultra wealthy is, they've bought so many Airbnbs that they can wait this out for a long time, even if nobody is going to Airbnbs right now, because people are trying to save money. They're like, well, it doesn't really matter because we bought these we bought them outright.
Yeah.
So they can wait that out, whereas so it'll start to fall like dominoes. Some people who got in, like say if I went in to get an Airbnb last year, I have a big payment on that still, but no one's going to Airbnbs. So I'm like, well, I can maybe wait this out 6 months. So they're going to slowly start falling. And then at some point, the big guys are like, this is worthless right now. So I'm just going to sell too. And that's when all the houses are going to come up. That's the theory.
Because the environment has been the way it has been for so long, I'm trying to imagine a scenario where the price of houses goes down and people don't just immediately start buying them up as soon as they go down in price. That's what makes me think is like either the crash is going to have to be like huge where it completely shifts the attitudes of everybody like, I'm not buying a house right now. I don't know how far down this is going to fall. But the other thing too, further to your point, is that there are so many people moving from California to here and to other places. Those houses have always been expensive. So if they're selling their houses, they're buying for cash.
Yeah.
And when you're buying for cash, you can't really compete with that. And so it's just keeping the price of everything more and more expensive.
And that's how it feels like out here. In Nashville, if you're not from here, in Nashville, it feels like this will never end.
Right.
It feels like even if the economy crashes, Nashville will still be this way.
And there are places around the country where prices have fallen, but here it's like even if they don't go, like they might stop going up as high as fast, but they're still going. Like
they've stagnated
or they've flattened. Nothing is like getting cheaper, and that's what I'm wondering. It's like because as soon as things do get cheaper,
more people from California would move here.
Right. It's just like, oh, did you hear the houses are going down? Okay, go, buy.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm wondering. Like the investors will do the same thing. They'll say, "Look, I'll just pay for cash." And that goes back to this too, because it's not like they're dividing it up and saying, "Well, hold on, okay, just because overall there's more wealth, well, okay, does that mean that the rich people have more money and the poor people have less?" But when you total it up, it's wealthier than ever before.
That's
how it feels to me.
Yeah, it feels like a more tiered system now.
Because when all your friends literally like have to move an hour away.
Yeah, when you witness that. All the time,
that's not normal.
No,
it's like anybody I know that has bought a house in the last 3 or 4 years had to move an hour away.
Yeah,
they're living out further away because that's the only place you could afford a property. Yeah. Even then, it was more. It's houses an hour away out in the middle of nowhere are more than what we bought our houses for.
Yeah.
And we got more house.
It's crazy. I feel ridiculous. So bad for people.
I do too. So, but the guy who runs JCPenney told CNN that his company's core customers, which is working class families, are increasingly relying on credit cards, falling behind on bills, and shifting to cheaper private label brands. So it's like on one hand, the article is saying, yeah, people are never wealthier, but also they're going into debt. They're falling behind on their bills. It's like
I think that is. I bet that's what's going to happen. I bet the middle class and the lower middle class are going to keep falling further behind, and as they keep falling further behind, the people who have a lot of money saved up are just going to buy all the houses and rent them out to the wealthy people,
or they're going to rent them out to the people who can't afford houses, and so they'll just never be able to afford houses.
Yeah. Yep. That's what it's going to be.
Where do we go from here? Like, when you see articles like this that are just so blatantly, like, obviously not true to any anecdotal evidence you see around you, like, is it good that they're trying to pump this out to like gaslight people?
Well, they want to say that their party member is doing a good job.
Yeah.
CNN wants you to believe everything's great.
Does this wake people up to be like, what are they talking about? Like, even the normies? No. Or do they just say, oh, no, I guess I do have more money than I thought I did?
I talked to somebody recently who it was like, you just read the talking points. And it was sad because it was like, it was just...
I'm informed.
Exactly.
I saw the corporate headline.
Yeah. But then they said the opposite, but still said that what they heard was true. I was so confused. So I don't know.
I'm gonna think for myself for a second, but also it makes sense with what I
Yeah,
heard
it was
on
like,
TV.
well, they're
Somehow.
yeah, they're wrong, but then they went and said their actual experience. Like, but it is, and it was right, but it was wrong. It was strange. I
Most
didn't
people
understand
just
it.
want to fit in.
Yes.
I'm not smart enough to have the answers, so whoever's in charge must know what's up. I guess I have a lot of money, even though I can't afford to pay my bills.
Yeah.
Things must be good because that's what I was told. Because the alternative is too scary. The alternative that you're just being lied to at all points
Yeah.
by a corporate press. Well, I don't.
But where do you go then? Because like,
Right,
well,
I don't wanna
I was
consider
lied
that.
to. I was lied to by my parents, and so now I've gone the other direction, and now they've lied to me too. Well, I really have to think for myself.
That's
See,
true,
that's
right.
terrifying.
Yeah. Wow, that is interesting. Like who everyone's like, but I feel. I don't know. To me, I've never had a problem just thinking I'm being lied to.
Oh, I know. That's the thing. But we grew up weird.
Oh, you were weird too growing up?
Josh, we, without going into our entire life history, like we grew up in a world where we felt like the authorities, and not our parents, but the authorities that be out in the world are just trying to screw you.
Yeah.
And so
We had good reason to believe these things.
Huh?
We had good reason to
Oh
believe
yeah,
these
no,
things.
we were right.
Yeah.
And so we've always grown up with this ultra like skeptical
Right.
that shaped
is
our
true.
lives.
That is true.
But we had a respect for authority as well. We didn't just like say you're wrong, or at least I didn't. I just didn't say you're wrong, but it was like, okay, there's a chance that you're trying to screw us.
I think that
But-
I became more, but it's because I became more cynical for a variety of reasons. I think now,
Yeah.
as you've gotten older, you have become more cynical.
Yes. Once
At the same time, where I'm starting to have kids, so I'm trying to be more optimistic. And so you're where I was like 5 or 10 years ago, and I'm like, yeah, just wait it out. It gets better.
Yeah.
Hopefully, at least that's what I tell myself. All right. I don't know. Bad news.